The little sheep girl quietly opened her neighbor's door, but the moment she took her first step inside, she was violently dragged in. Someone slammed her to the floor with overwhelming force, pinning her down. Saliva dripped from the animal above her, who looked as if he might devour her in the very next second. And the one who dragged her in was none other than our protagonist, Legoshi. The little sheep, May, was already terrified by his frightening behavior. She tried to dial an emergency number, but she couldn't reach her phone. All she could do was stare helplessly. As Legoshi's saliva continued to drip, May noticed that he himself seemed aware of what was happening. Was she destined to die here today? The reason Legoshi had become so unhinged was that after eating Lewis's leg before, his carnivore genes had fully awakened. Every single night, the intense craving for meat tormented him to the point where he wanted to die. Even as he tore through sheet after sheet, the desire never weakened in the slightest. The warmth, the texture, the taste of the blood from Lewis's leg replayed in his mind over and over again. Even when he tried to think of his beloved Haru, the next second his thoughts were still filled with the massive leg of Lewis. The sensation of that fresh venison almost tore him apart from the inside. His agonized screams disturbed his neighbor, the little sheep May. She knocked on his door and asked him to keep it down so she could sleep, so she decided to confront him once and for all. She opened Legoshi's door directly. And that's how everything shown at the beginning of the video happened. Fortunately, in the end, May managed to reach her phone. But just as she was about to call the police, she noticed that Legoshi had suddenly stopped screaming. Clearly, after a frantic internal struggle, Legoshi had managed to suppress his inner desire. Faced with this awkward situation, he could only make up an excuse, saying that he had been having a nightmare. When May learned that he was just a 17-year-old young wolf, she forgot everything that had happened and even wanted to befriend him. Legoshi, too, felt curious about her. Why wasn't she afraid of him? Why did she dare to stay? Meanwhile, Lewis, having nowhere else to go, had no choice but to return home and inherit his family's cold, billion-dollar fortune, along with the consequences of losing his leg. His tycoon father obtained the most advanced prosthetic limb on the planet for him. But living every day in this massive 1,000-square-meter mansion bored him terribly. He often found himself reminiscing about his days with the Lion Gang. He missed Ibuki, who had been like a father to him. Sadly, none of it could ever be recovered. Fortunately, he could still visit Juno at school to chat. Juno was the only one on campus who knew that he had once been involved in the black market. But as Lewis talked on and on, Juno suddenly leaned in and kissed him, something Lewis never expected. That single kiss completely changed the course of his life. Not long after, his tycoon father arranged a politically convenient marriage with someone of the same social class. But after having tasted the tenderness of a carnivore, Lewis could no longer feel any interest in the deer in front of him. One moment he made excuses to get a drink of water. The next, he claimed he wanted to watch television. Even when he ran out of excuses, the instant he touched the deer, his mind filled entirely with the image of Juno. When he opened his eyes and saw the deer in front of him again, he felt nauseous, almost to the point of vomiting. Clearly, he had developed very different feelings for Juno.